do his presentation.
Sure. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I wanted to give you a little bit of background on Maarten, obviously, before we jump in and let him take over. Maarten is in the partnership with his father and also his friend Mario. They've formed a very successful partnership out of Belgium, previously winning the Belgium Nationals, and have obviously had some major award winners in, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Karlsruhe, in the European Championships. Maarten's been in Budgerigars for 23 years and has been the president of the Belgian BBS Brabant region since 2007. He's also been a national board member. As many of you would know, Maarten was due in Australia this month, but due to the COVID-19 situation, his trips had to be put back a year. So we're very fortunate that Maarten actually tells me today that he's managed to get his father and Mario there. So we actually have all three of the partnership there. And we're going to have an open discussion about their soft food preparation and then a tour of one of the 3 bird rooms. So each of the partnership have their own bird room, and we learned last night that they always have one of the 3 bird rooms down. So there's some really intriguing things in there to learn. And then Maarten's going to show us through some of his 57 pairs of birds that he's currently got up and the babies that he's bred from them and the strategies behind these pairings. So we did a little bit of a dry run with that last night. It was very interesting and very intriguing and mouth-watering. So questions are welcome through the presentation, but as Chris alluded to, they'll be needed to direct it in the form of the chat. So I will interrupt Maarten as required and either ask the question or direct Jonathan to unmute a specific person so that they can ask the question if I don't entirely understand it. Be aware at the end of the session, Maarten's kindly offered to stick around, in his words, for as long as we need, but we all want to be in bed by midnight, to have a Q&A. So he's more than happy to have a very open discussion with everybody, very informal question and answer session. So if you have a more general question, I'd ask that you hold it over until then. I'll mediate going through Maarten. For those who do want to ask questions to him, at the end of the session, simply put your name in the chat and then I'll say, okay, it's Chris's turn or it's Ian Wise's turn. So one thing before we do get started, if I can make sure that everybody leaves themselves on mute, Jonathan will have put you on mute, but on the right-hand side of your screen, you would have noticed that there's a button that says gallery view and speaker view and full screen. Now, if you want to be able to see the chat on the side, you'll want to leave that there. But the speaker view is the most important one. So if you click speaker view now, you should only see my face, seconded only by Jamie Wright, who is also on here, extremely good looking man. But if you leave it on speaker view, as Maarten's talking, you'll be able to see only his tablet. And then obviously as I interrupt him, you'll unfortunately have to come back to my face. So if we can leave it on that for now, forward those questions through on the chat, and then I'll interrupt Maarten. So thank you. And with that, Maarten, if you can unmute yourself, please. And we'll hand over to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. First of all, I want to introduce myself and the partnership. So I am Maarten Haylen. My father is here. He comes into the screen. This is my father. Hi. And Mario is also here. You can see Mario there. So as Troy already said, we are a partnership with the 3 of us since 2013. So in 2013, Mario joined the partnership. My father and I, we are breeding budgies for 23 years already. So my father has been breeding birds for all his life since he was a little boy, and yeah, that's how we got the virus, let's say. But I have to be careful to tell this at this moment. But okay, so I think we'll start with a guide through the bird room, just to have an overview of the setup. second thing is my father will prepare the soft food as we make it every 2 days. I will give some comments while he is preparing that. After that, we'll go and have a look at the pairings and the babies of this year. So I hope you enjoy. As Troy already mentioned, just send your questions over the chat to Troy, and he can always interrupt me when needed. And after the session, of course, there is possibility for questions and answers, or even you can just contact me over, I don't know, I will leave my messenger account or something later on that whenever you want to ask me something, you can do that. So let's have a short tour of the breeding room. I will take my tablet. So let's start here. This is yeah, the kitchen area where we have there 2 slides, one with adults, the one you see first. The other one is the slide with the older babies that are already mature enough to put into the flight right now. Well, later on we will have a closer look at them. And then it's another flight you can see here. It's another flight with adults and spare birds. So from there we go into the breeding room. The breeding room, there is a setup of 57 cages, as you can see. So, and in the middle there, we have 3 cages where the bar heads are going when they are leaving the parents. So, you can see our breeding cages are plastic boxes that are just an own design that I'm working on logistics, and actually those boxes are used in the warehouse, not in the same color, of course. Normally they are dark gray, but I asked to make them transparent, and so we made our breeding cages out of logistic boxes, and I ordered the front of the cages myself, and the rest, those are German nest boxes made from Prespa, but I will show that later on.
Maarten, one of the questions being asked, is your bird room down in the basement or is it upstairs?
Correct, it's in the basement, yeah. So we don't have any natural light in here. What we do have is some true light lamps over here. And we have each of the breeding cages that are illuminated with LED. It's not a direct light, you can see. It's like a glow, because I don't like the LED to shine directly into the breeding cage. But now, because the boxes are a little bit transparent, it gives like a glow, and it gives the same amount of light in every breeding cage. At my father's place, so we have 3 breeding rooms, one at Mario's place with 36 cages, one at my father's place, also for 36 cages. At my father's place, we have natural light, so it's not in the basement. Mario's place is also in the basement. So now, after a while, the birds will move from my place to my father's place, and they can go in to have some sunlight and catch some vitamin D there. So it's not, let's say, normal partnership in Europe. Most of the time are 2 breeders that have their own setup and their own birds and breed. Yeah, they just show together. For us, it's totally different. The birds are from the 3 of us, and the birds just move from one place to another. As Troy already mentioned, during the season, one of us is starting, and then afterwards a second one is starting, and one place stays completely empty. This gives us the possibility to disinfect, to clean very well, and relieve the pressure, because of course when you're breeding you have a pressure in the breeding room, and while putting it empty for a few months, it relieves the pressure there. So any questions about the setup so far? Perhaps I can mention we have, of course, because we're in the basement, we have two air extractors, one there and one in the flight area here, which gives us the opportunity to change the air very, yeah. I think the total volume is changed every hour in the breeding room. So it's really important to have clean air in your breeding room, and decrease the amount of dust, of course, as much as possible. So let's just start with the preparation of the soft food, I think, and then later on we can have a look at the pairs and at the babies. Okay.
Sure.
So my father will start. I will put
just two questions quickly, Maarten, before you jump in.
a little bit here.
I'm being asked, are there any issues that you guys have moving the birds around?
Sometimes we have, yeah. Sometimes you can see that the birds need to adapt to a new place. The best thing that you can do, of course, is we prepare one breeding room for breeding, and we put them right in the breeding cage, and then you minimize yeah, how should I say? Yeah, the result of the move, actually, because you put them in breeding and they just are breeding at that moment.
So
if you move them,
how far separated are the aviaries? Are you guys within several kilometers of one another, or do you live in different cities?
Yeah, 10 minutes drive. So it's like a triangle. I have 10 minutes drive to my father's place and 10 minutes drive to Mario's place, and they all, it's all the same distance. So
Okay.
it's between 8 and 10 kilometers.
One other question that's being asked is the humidity in the bird room. How do you manage and measure that? And also the fresh air. How does that work in winter? Obviously, as it's very cold in Belgium.
Yeah. So humidity, actually, because we're in the basement and we pull in that much fresh air every day, you're pretty much, yeah, you rely on the weather outside. It means if outside it's rainy and it's really wet, you get higher humidity because you're pulling in the air. And on the other hand, if it's cold and freezing, or in the summer when it's hot, you can see the humidity going down. What I do is I have a misting machine. If humidity is not high enough, I just put in some F10 and I mist the whole breeding room to get the humidity up again. So yeah, we always try to have humidity above 50–60%.
Okay. All right. If you want to jump on.
And the air, yeah, the air I already showed. We have two big extractors that's pulling out air, and actually it's coming in one point that I will show you. So there, that's the point that actually the air is coming in, and it goes through the fresh air is actually pulled through the whole breeding room, and it goes out in the point there, the forest of the whole place. So yeah, and to be honest, I think the air always is rather good. So I think we can start with the soft food, or are there any other questions about the setup first?
No, there's no more questions being shown on here.
Okay, so you can see we prepared actually what we put in the soft food. This are vegetables that we all know. It's a mix of vegetables that we use: carrots, broccoli, celery, and fennel. Yeah. So what we do is once every 2 months we order like 25 kg of vegetables. We all process them and we put them in bags in the freezer. And we just take every 2 days. We take one bag out of the freezer, and it's always it's not fresh, but actually it works out well for us, and you don't have to process it every day. So my father is adding some minerals. This is a mineral powder. The second one is nettle powder, and then you have turmeric. We have our own herb mixture, because you can see. You can see we in summer period we use like fresh herbs that we have available in the garden, but during winter season you don't have that. So therefore, it's actually a dried herb mix of 10 different herbs that we use, and we put it in the soft food. This is dried seaweed. And this is just another herb mix that we got from a friend of us that we use in there. So there we have oat. There we add the oats. We add white and brown perilla, and we add fonio paddy. Yeah. Okay. Together with that, we have different egg foods that we use. This one, if you can see it, it's actually mixed insects and berries. Very high in protein, 40% of protein. There we have a moist egg food that we use as standard from Wittemolen. And we have a dry, because otherwise it might be too wet. We have a dry egg food from Quicko. This gives you a very, it's still a little bit too moist at the moment. So my father will add a little bit of more dry. So we really work to get it not too wet, and that it needs to have the right texture.
Maarten, one question that's being asked: the product fonio paddy. Is that we're not familiar with that product, the fonio paddy. Is that a product that's available outside of Belgium?
Yeah, I think so. I think today the guy that I'm buying directly from, the guy that exports it worldwide actually. This fonio paddy is an interesting little seed that actually is proved as being a natural antibiotic for coccidiosis. So, and definitely babies that are just coming or putting aside from the parents, they start feeding that immediately. So they have it always available. It's a very small seed, but it's very easy to peel, I think, and they really love it.
Wait, and get me the charger.
Okay, so you see the sweet corn that we use just from a can. We take off the juice, and that's going in like this. And of course, for that we use the Breed Plus from RV Smart, and my father puts that on the sweet corn because that are the vitamins that we use, the Breed Plus, and actually it's on the sweet corn. It sticks on the sweet corn, and the sweet corn is the first that they take out of the soft food.
Just 1 second, Martin. Michael, for some reason you've taken yourself off mute, and we keep saying, can you just click back on mute for us, please? Thank you. Is it going on to mute? Sorry. No, you're good now. Okay. Sorry, Martin. Continue.
Okay. So, but some days, not every day, my father puts also some red millet sprays. He just strips them off like that, and he adds them to the soft food.
And Maarten, why don't you do that every day? You said you do that sometimes, not every day.
Every 2 days. We make it for 2 days. Let's say the volume that my father prepared now for my place is for 2 days. So yeah. So yeah, it's quite a recipe. But yeah, this is how we are doing it for already many years, and the birds love it.
Excellent, thank you for sharing.
Okay. Any questions about the soft food?
There's none showing up at the moment. I think we answered them.
Is question from me to you guys? Is it something that you do also? Something similar, or?
I'm being asked. Is that in addition? You obviously provide plain seed as well to the birds, correct?
Yeah, we have a seed mixture, of course. So if we look at the breeding pairs. So this is the bigger bowl is for birds with. Oh, let me have a look. Can you see it? No. Where is it here? Yeah. Can you see it now?
Yes.
So the bigger bowl is for pairs with baby, and the smaller bowl is for pairs that are just up breeding.
And can you show us what it's in the breeding cage?
Say it again, I didn't get that.
So can you show us in the breeding cage outside of the soft food, what else you have in the breeding cage?
So what you can see here with this is just Thrive and Gloss. Thrive and Gloss is a protein mixture that I get from the UK, from Just Supplements. He is providing that. This is a grit mixture, and this one we change on a weekly basis. This one is a more coarse one, and sometimes we have fine grit mixture there. So this we alternate, and then you can see the egg food, and of course the seed mixture.
Your seed is just a regular 50%.
We have
in the millets.
Yeah, we have 45% of plain cannery and 30% of Japanese millet. That's the main. That are the two main ingredients of our feed mixture.
Okay.
And a mineral like a calcium block that they just like to bite on. So
now, Maarten, one of the
all.
questions that's being asked, Harley has mentioned that silver beet in the soft food, he heard that it can suck the calcium out of the birds, and he noticed that there appears to be minimal greens in your soft food mix.
Can you repeat that? It's not completely clear to me.
Sure. There was a question asked about there appears to be minimal greens in the soft food mix. So the soft food mix is more an egg mix. You have the vegetables and the dried herbs, but there appears to be no silver beet. Is there a reason why you left the silver beet out?
No, I don't. I don't really know what you mean by that, but this is a soft food we make for already like 15 years, I think.
I think. Do you know spinach? So many people use spinach and silver beet in Australia.
Spinach, yeah, okay, the leaves, yeah, okay. That's something we just throw in the flights, and sometimes a leaf of spinach or a leaf of dandelion or a leaf of some, yeah, I don't know the name in English actually, but some greens we just throw in the breeding cage when it's available. But we don't put it separately in the soft food.
And one other question that was asked was, what do you believe for the birds in the breeding cage with their soft food, does it represent of the daily intake? Do you think maybe 50% compared to the seed, or is it maybe 25?
Yeah, the main thing is the seed. That remains the most important thing of the mix of the diet of the breed of the birds. You need to have enough protein in the feed picture, and yeah. Okay. Besides that, while feeding the chicks, they need something. So you need something more than that, of course, and that's why we have this soft food put together.
One other question that was asked, Maarten, is what do you use at the bottom of the breeding cages on the floor?
Okay, that's, how should I say it? Beech, do you know beech?
Yes.
It's wood, it are fine wooden chips.
Okay, wood chips.
So it's the 3 millimeter that we use, and we put them on the bottom of the cage, and it absorbs humidity very well, and it's a natural product. So yeah, that's. We have tried some sand before, but at the end we still preferred the wooden chips on the bottom of the cage.
Well, that's all of the questions that have been sent to me about the soft food mix. If you're ready to move on.
Okay. So I will ask somebody to help me to put in some birds. Koppel A15, pak die er eens uit en dan zetten we die baby erbij. So I will ask my father to put in some birds, and I will put the result of the pairing. I will show the result of the pairing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So this is the father. This is a double factor spaniel. This is the combination. So the mother is a double factor spangled 2, golden face. If you see the pairing, this is you see the length of the hen above the perch. That's something that the cock is missing. I like the density of the feather of the cock, also with the broad shoulders and neck. So you know, I try to pair up complementary, yeah? And most of the time I pair up visually. From a feather type, they are, I think, one of the most extreme pairs that we have put together. Because most of the time I try to combine a little shorter feather with a longer or a rougher feather. This is the result. No, this is not the result. this was an yellow-faced albino. This one is the result, and it's, for me, the really nice combination of both the birds. I will try to put the baby together with the parents, but that might be, yeah, it works.
And Maarten, do you believe that you succeeded in what you wanted to achieve with that pairing?
I think I did, yeah. That's for me, yeah, what I wanted to achieve. You can see the baby has the same directional feather of the father, but it's also longer above the perch. So, okay, let's move on to the next pair.
Maarten, one of the questions that's being asked while you're getting the birds ready, if you like that result so much, would you pair as close as father and daughter?
Yeah. The audio was not good, Troy. Can you repeat that?
One of the questions that's being asked is if the result was a hen, would you go as close as to pair the father to the daughter? Do you do
never?
Close?
Never. I never do that. The closest I pair up is like niece to uncle or something. That I never go closer than that. I don't like line breeding, and I don't like and I don't like inbreeding at all. So I pair visually, and I don't want them to be too close related. Of course, that's something I mentioned in my presentation too. When you start as a beginner, you need to use the knowledge of the experienced breeder where you have bought the birds. So you have to do some line breeding. But once you are a little bit more experienced, you have to work with the feather and with the type of the bird. So you can see here, it's a father with his, I hope it's his son, but I'm doubting it more and more. I thought it was a cock when it was coming out of the nest box, but this is the father, cinnamon gray green, with his son, with his violet, cinnamon violet. The mother is, she is sitting on eggs again. I don't want to disturb her, but I can just I will not put them in the shot. She will not stay in the photo cage, but I can just show you like this. She is a gray, cinnamon gray hen with a violet factor. I don't know if you can see that, if the image is clear enough, but you can see that there has like a violet shine over the gray.
Maarten, one of the questions that's being asked, is the fertility the same across all the 3 ovaries because of the different environments?
What is the same? Sorry, I didn't get that.
The fertility of the birds.
No, it's the same. Yeah,
it's the same?
that's the same. The same over the tree. Over the tree. It's the same because they are the same birds.
Now, Maarten, one thing, can you, the cinnamon sky blue baby, is there any way you can hold him up close to the tablet so we can have a good look at his face? Because if he's the one we saw last night, he was pretty special.
No, this is the cinnamon violet. This one was in the
one we looked at last night. Oh.
Yeah, that was the one that was sitting here. That was sitting here in the. Okay. Let me have a look. That's the one. Can you see it?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Okay. Okay. This is another father with his son.
And what was his
So the mother was a small. No, she's not here. I changed the pair. You can see this is the mother. She is a medium feathered bird, not a big hen, but that's how I like to pair them up. She has a nice mask, nice top, and that's yeah, how we like to pair up. This is a pair where I had a very high expectation. I don't know if you can see it. It's a gray-green normal with the cinnamon gray-green cock. And to be honest, the result was not what I expected. So sometimes, yeah, it doesn't work out either. Huh? But it's another pair I can show you here.
So Maarten, the pair that we just looked at was one of the pairs you said yesterday was your favourite pair, and they had disappointed.
Yes, it was one of the favorite pairings that I put together. Yeah.
Can you show the baby that you were so disappointed with? Because afterwards, yesterday, we all cried because we tried to breed them as good as that, and you were very disappointed with that bird.
Yeah. So This is the baby that I was not so happy with. But this was the best one of the four, actually.
So he's still a very good budgerigar in our mind.
He is a good one, but for me, it's not wide enough. I will put the father next to that one. They don't always sit still, of course. And I have my show cage without the wire. Without the wire, so let's try again. Okay.
Now, Maarten, have you bred any other birds from that cockbird?
Yeah, but let me have a look.
So from a different pairing or from the same pairing?
No, from the same pairing. So there are two babies, and they were all quite similar, actually. But I don't, yeah, it was not what I expected from the pairing.
Now, you put the parents back down again, is that correct? They're in the cage.
Yeah, I give it another try, because I already noticed first round, sometimes it's not what you expected. And then second round, it somehow works out better. I don't know. So if I see in the second round that the quality is similar, I will split the pair up anyway. Cinnamon sky blue. He is a breeding bird, not a show bird.
And Maarten, can you show us, given he's a breeding bird and not a show bird, the kind of thing you would pair him up to?
Yeah, let me have a look.
One of the other questions while you were there, Maarten, can you do a close-up inside of one of your nest boxes to show the guys?
This is the pair.
And what are you hoping to achieve from that pair?
So this is actually a new hen that I gave them. The first hen was even a little smaller, but she attacked the chick. So afterwards I put her in the flight, and now I fed her up with another cock.
So Kerry is asking Maarten if it's possible that you can do a bit of a close-up inside the nest box so we can see how the plastic nest box works.
Yeah. So this was the hen where she was feather plucked in the nest when she was a baby. But And now she flaps herself. So it's not a nice bird to see, but you see that I try to match the. I don't want to duplicate on the rough feather here. So this is something that I would like to show. Let's have a look here. So this is a light green cock. With an easily clear body hand.
Maarten, one of the questions that's been sent to me.
So you see. These are not all their babies, but this will be a really nice one.
Very nice.
Yeah, this is one of them.
So Maarten, one of the questions that's being asked is, all of the cockbirds seem to have super body feather, and the hens are more tightly in the body feather. They're asking.
Correct. That's how I like to pair up. I like to see the visual quality with the cockbird, and I like. Actually, what I'm doing in my head is pairing the father of the hen with the cockbird. So it's a presentation that Harry Hockaday has done, let's say, 7 or 8 years ago. And in his presentation was speaking about pairing cock to cock. And that's actually in my mind what I'm doing. I'm pairing the type of the father of the hen with the cockbird. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, yeah, I understand very clearly. The question being asked, have you ever tried it the other way around? So do you have an extreme hen and a finer feathered cockbird?
Yeah, but I'm not so keen in keeping the bigger hen. So most of the time, they are gone. This is an example of how it is the other way. Let's just show the pair. It's a huge opaline hen. And with a very typey light green cock.
Now, Maarten, one other question that's being asked, what age do you cull your birds or make the show birds? Like when do you basically from the nest, like you're looking at there, or when do you make a decision on a bird?
Most of the time in the nest already. We decide whether we are going to feed them or not, because, you know, now it's a bit different times, but in a normal year, there are visitors coming, yeah, every week, let's say. And most of the time, I sell them already as a baby bird. So I should make my selection in the nest box.
Okay.
And sometimes I know more or less how the birds will develop, but I have to be honest. Sometimes it happened that a bird developed differently than I expected, and it became a super bird. And okay, I sold him, but that's the risk, of course. That's how it is.
Now, one of the other questions, Maarten, is somebody asked me, they've said they noticeably don't have a lot of opalines or opaline cinnamon. Is there a reason for that?
I don't have much opaline, or what?
Correct.
Yeah, sometimes the audio falls away, sorry. So it's for me difficult to understand the question every time. But we had it in the dry run also. So the question was that we don't have much opalines, or?
Correct. They said that noticeably, relative to many aviaries in Australia, you don't seem to have many opalines in the pairings. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know.
Not a conscious
I
decision.
don't know. No. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me show still one more pair.
One question while you're setting that up, Martin. How many birds do you have in the partnership generally? How many birds do the three collectively?
It depends on the time of the year, of course. But let's say we are breeding maximum with 93 breeding cages at the same time. For that, we will keep about 180 hens, and yeah, about 120. Let's say about 300 we have always in a partnership. Of course, when the babies are coming, it goes up. We breed about 400 to between 400 and 500 babies over the year. So.
Now, one that was being asked, Martin, is do you incorporate splits into the background of your breeding birds? So I know you posted a beautiful Lutino the other day.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep them because that's what I want. This bird is split lacewing.
Okay.
So, and this is his son. And it seems you can see. Do you see the dot in the neck?
Yes.
It seems that other from mother side, other from father side, he is split recessive.
He's a beautiful bird.
Yeah. So he can be split lacing, or it's not ideal, I know, but he can be split lacing and he can be a split recessive. So yeah, that's because the mother of the bird is not a lacing hen; it's a normal cinnamon opaline hen. But yeah, that's. So let's have a quick look in the flight of the older babies. So you can see quite a lot of different colors. You can see Texas clear body. You can see a very nice. I really like that bird. A recessive spite there. You have a Lutino baby hen. Another recessive spite, the gray recessive spite. We have the Texas clear body here. Another few Latinos. I like the challenge of the, like say, the special colors too, and I like to improve them too. If you see this one is a baby 2020. He is cobalt golden face Texas clear body. So.
We have a breeder in our club, Wayne Wiedenhofer, who's on here tonight, and I'm sure he's probably just short-circuited his keyboard because he likes the golden face and the Texas clear body. That's a beautiful bird.
Yeah, he's still young. This is a normal clear body.
Martin, one of the questions that's being asked that I missed, somebody asked, what is the average number of eggs that the hens lay?
The average number of hens?
Eggs.
Eggs. Yeah, let's say 5 or 6.
Okay.
Young grey cock.
Martin, one of the questions that's being asked, do you use the golden face for any specific purpose? Because you seem to have it.
No.
Just
Yeah, I like them. I like the color. It's some personal preference.
okay.
Baby gray green.
It's a very impressive Budgerigar. Martin, one of the guys is asking, what is your opinion on using the blackbirds?
I don't like flapping very much, so most of the time I get rid of them. If for some reason I still need the features of that bird, I will try to pair it in the Eno. But I don't like flag birds at all. And I think you notice you will not see many. There is one here, one yellow face flag bird, but that definitely I will not keep. So it's for me, yeah. Only an very exceptional bird I will, and he is flecky, I will keep that one then. But some.
And Martin,
Yeah, from.
do you have many dominant prides?
I had more, but I lost some of them. Actually, now we started at Mario's place. We still have a few, but let's say 4 or 5 years ago we had many more. So I lost a little bit of dominant pipes. We still have the recessive pipes in here, but yeah, only a few. I'll show you. I think that's one of my father is catching him recessive bite. One of my favorite birds also.
And how long, Martin, do you keep the birds in a nappy cage for?
Until they start the molt. So this is a recessive bite that I really like.
What is the process you use to get the birds? Like, obviously, you put the birds on the perch tonight, and only one of them is squawked. What is it? So you obviously handle them a lot. What is the process of training snowbirds?
Yeah, it's as you said. You have to handle them on a daily basis. You know, when you have a lot of visitors coming, or you show. Yeah, to be honest, most of the time they are the same birds that you take out, and they yeah, they are a little bit more tame. If you take a bird that yeah is a very average bird that you take out the flight, he will not stay in the showcase. That's for sure.
And how big are your flight cages?
The ones here in my aviary, they are like about 80 centimeter wide and 1 meter 20, no, 1 meter 20 wide and 80 centimeter. So the bigger one here, that's like 2.5 meters. This one, this is 2.5 meters. This is 1 meter 50, the one in front. and this also is 1.50 meters. And here it's about, this is 80 centimeters more or less.
Yep.
And they are all similar. We have the similar flights at my father's place and at Mario's place. They are all mounted on some storage space. So you have the birds on eye height. That's what I like, that you can see them, because previously we had those flights with 2 floors. But I noticed that the birds that were in the bottom flights, you didn't notice as quick when something was wrong. So therefore, we all have those flights mounted on top of, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think, Maarten, we've gotten through.
Yeah. Here you can.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah, I wanted to show the different types of seed that we're still using. So yeah, you have the Fonio Paddy on the right. We have Padima Green second to the right. Then we have a health mixture that we give them actually, and this is Delicia. And they all, those 3, they all come from the same supplier of the Fonio Paddy.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the normal seed mixture. Yeah. And then you can see we buy some. There are some different seed sprays that we have soaked. We have soaked a little now, and we gave them to the birds in the flies. What we also do is once a week we put fresh lemon in the drinking water. We just squeeze the lemon and we put it in the water, and then what's left from the lemon we throw them in the flies and they eat it completely.
Okay. Maarten, one of the last questions that the guys had for you, they wanted to know, do you have a favorite bird? What's your most impressive bird? I know you like that recessive pied. Is it that one, or do you have a different one?
No, I'll show you. Actually, my favorite bird at the moment is sitting at Mario's place. But so this is, if you see, my father will put them in. There are 2 birds. My favorite birds that I use for breeding, and then I will show you my favorite show bird.
One of the questions while you're getting him out, Maarten, they were asking, you have quite a few cinnamons and quite a few cinnamon cocks. Is that just a tendency, or do you have a preference for their use because of their feather?
This is one of my favorite breeding birds. And now, of course, he is breeding now. He's not prepared for the show. This is a show bird. You see, the feather is much tighter. You can prepare those birds for the show, but you still need the other ones. You still need the other ones for breeding to keep the level, keep the quality high.
And Maarten, just one other question. The group back here was asking, they notice you have quite a few cinnamon cocks. Is there a preference for their use, or is it just because?
No, that's because after selection, it's the result was that more cinnamon were the better ones. So there is no. I know we have too much cinnamon, so we will certainly sell easier a cinnamon cock of high quality than a normal one, because we don't want the whole stuff to be over with cinnamons. But yeah, still, if you see the quality of the cinnamons is still high. You can see one here too. You see again, it's paired up to a really tight hen.
Yep.
So yeah, but still, if it's a really good bird, we'll keep him. But I like to work with some colors. So we started with Texas Clear Body 4 years ago or something, and I think we could improve the quality. We started with an outcross from South Africa, Easily Clear Body 2 years ago, and I think now we have in second generation a really nice baby here. This is Easily Clear Body. If you see, that's a really nice baby already. So I like to work with the colors a little bit, recessive flies. We started now for 2 years to breed some dilutes, and also there we had the first splits and dilutes coming. So yeah. So I think we're a lot over the hour, but I don't know if there are any more questions.
I think I speak on behalf of everyone and saying thank you very much. I've had lots of private messages sent to me, and everyone is completely in awe of the birds that you have. They're very, very good. So, and for sharing them with us today, you've certainly made our day. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to see you guys in person in Australia, but we will have to wait another year, perhaps.
They want to know if you're going to bring Mario and your father with you to Australia.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see you here. So thank you.
The light, you see, the light is going out. It's bedtime. It's time for a nap.
all right.
During the day, the light goes out for nearly 2 hours in the breeding room.
So you do the siesta, like
the siesta, yeah.
They turn the lights on early, breed, do everything, and then turn the lights off for 2 hours in the middle of the day, and then you'll turn them back on. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Good. All right. Is there anyone now in terms of the Q&A that wants to ask Maarten a question? If they want to ping me through the chat so we can unmute them.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. I will go to the chat and have a look. Okay.
All right. Now, Chris, did you need to close up the meeting or anything in general?
My father says.
Hello, goodbye, Australia.
Thank you.
My father and Mario say hi.
Thank you, Mario.
No, not really, Troy. Just thank you to you both. Fantastic.
Okay, so let me.
Last hour.
All right.
And then you just however you want to run the chat from here.
So is there, I know obviously that was very thorough on Maarten's part, but I think we've had 74 people online. We're down to 67 now. Is there anything that anyone wants to ask Maarten?
Yeah, where were the spangles, Roy?
Say that again, the spangle you were looking for?
No spangles.
Oh, there are spangles for sure. I did, but yeah, I showed the double factors, but I have other spangles for sure. They are, but yeah, it's difficult to show them all, of course. It's
I think Maarten had worked out yesterday that with 57 pairs, we gave him about 37 seconds per pair to put the pair in the cage, show the babies, and talk about his pairing strategy, which wasn't quite going to be long enough. But we thank you very much for showing us the ones that you did. They were lovely. And as I said, I think I speak on behalf of everyone saying we're delighted to see them. Is there any other questions? No? No? You got out of that one pretty safely, Maarten.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, but I will share my contact details. Whenever anyone wants to ask me something, you can just send me a message. That's not a problem.
Excellent. Well, thank you very, very much for your time this evening, or lunchtime for you.
Okay, I still see some questions coming in.
Oh, there's a couple coming. Yep.
Yeah. So what the age that I wean the bird, I try to do it quite young, because in the past I had some aggression with the parents. So whenever the birds want to come out the nest box, I put them aside and I feed them myself for a few days until they can feed themselves. So that's I do it quite fast, actually. I see there, what am I looking to improve on? Yeah, you know, it's always a work in progress. The perfect bird will never exist, but what we want is to have a shorted feathers on the body with a long feather on the head, improvement in the mask, in the spot. So you know, breeding budgies is always a challenge. And what do we want to improve is I like to, as I said, to work with the color and try to improve some colors if I can. This year I started with the melanistic spaniel, and we bred already some really nice ones. So yeah, that's something that we want to improve. But yeah. Okay. So I don't see any more questions.
There's one more there, Maarten. Is there a reason you don't use soaked or sprouted seed in the soft mix?
And oh no, I forgot to mention that we normally we did, but my father had them the sprouted seed soaked yesterday, and it was not sprouted. It needs a little sprout, and it was not done yet. So we didn't put it in today. But normally we put in some mung beans and a seed mixture that we sprout. That's correct. It's a good remark. We definitely use that.
Maarten, there's one that's come through to me accidentally privately. It says, what age do you use your hens and your cocks? So how old? 6 months, 9 months old? How old do you start to use them?
Yeah, you have to look at the bird. Sometimes you can say that the bird is ready or not to breed, but at least for a hen we say like 8 months is a minimum. It's really a minimum. But with the bigger hens, I would definitely, when you see that she's coming in condition first time, that's the time to try to breed with her. But it might be that if you miss that opportunity, you will never get anything out of the bird. So it's yeah. For the cocks, let's say if he is fit and he's chasing the hens in the flight, he can breed.
Yeah. There's one here that says, do you use the grey greens with your Lutinos?
Yeah, we have we use dark green to get a nice dark color in the Lutinos. So we had olive and dark green, but also grey green we used in the past. I don't see any problems with that.
Hasn't affected the color adversely?
No, because most of the time there is already a dark factor in somewhere in the background. It means I introduced the dark factors already some years ago in the Lutinos. So it increased. It's normally there, so it's no problem to use once a gray green or something. Most of the time, it doesn't affect the color at all.
Okay. There's a question there about infertility. How long do you persevere with a cock or a hen if you're getting infertility?
Normally not too long, but yeah, once I really had a hen she was the only baby I got from a really good cock, and I tried for 3 years, and in the third year she bred. But that's an exception. I would never do that if I have more brothers and sisters of her.
Yeah. There's two more questions coming there for you, Maarten. One says, does the mast length and cap feather length go together in your mind?
Definitely. It's the mask. You need to have feather length, otherwise mask will not be deep enough, and it's the same for the spots. On a narrow feather, you cannot draw a big spot. So in order to get a nice big round spot, you need a wide feather. So that's all part of my pairing strategy. I look very much at feather type, but also at feather direction and feather length. All those things are really important to build the ideal bird.
And one of the other questions that came in, do you keep your cocks and hens separate in the adult flights?
Only before starting pairing up to break the bonds that have been made in the because sometimes if a hen is paired up with a cock, she might be aggressive to the cock that you choose for her. So normally now they are mixed in the flights, but before we start pairing up, I tend to split them up for a week or two.
Yeah. That looks like all of the questions we have so far. Is there any more questions?
Okay. I really enjoyed it. I hope you also did. And yeah.
Maarten, we enjoyed it hugely. Thank you very, very much for your time, for Mario's time and your father's time. And we definitely are even more so now looking very much forward to seeing you in 2021 when the BCV brings you out to the Earth. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Maarten.
So, bye to you all. And yeah, let's hope we can speak soon again.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
very much.